Hello, everybody. My name is Glenn. Today we're going to do a benefits of upgrading from Top Producer 8i over to our Top Producer X. Normally it would be hosted by Dan Salcedo with me as a assistant update or host, but unfortunately Mr. Salcedo is busy at the moment, so you get me. Hopefully that works out okay. Hopefully I am able to answer any questions. Please do know that we do like questions here at the Top Producer webinars, so I will have the questions up on my other monitor here. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in. One thing I do like to ask though is I'm trying to make sure that I'm using my tone right with my camera and my microphone setup. Could you let me know where you're all from, just so that I know that everything's working? I'm from here in beautiful British Columbia in Canada, and I am looking forward to no longer having cold weather because it keep drip down again. Got a nice Arctic outflow coming down. So if you could let me know, and again, if you have any questions, feel free to go through the Zoom and I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. But today we're going to discuss the absolute benefits of going from Top Producer X, or from 8i to X. Over in Georgia, 70 degrees. I would take that. Scott, I think David's got the Georgia. Scott back in Wasaga Beach, Ontario. I think I've been there. My family is from back east, so probably about 30, 40 years ago, I might have been there. So I envy you having a long beach, but if you're in Ontario, it's probably very cold right now. And yeah, Willie, I'm just outside of Vancouver proper, and I'm not enjoying this temperature. We need to send it back east to Scott. He's used to it. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate you letting me know that you're able to hear me and we're able to get going. So I'm going to go into this. Yeah, no offense, Scott, but from the West Coast, please enjoy. We hope you enjoy it. We don't want it. We've had a couple already. They can stay on the East Coast where you guys are used to them. So we're going to get into this right away. It does say Dan Salcedo on here. He's not, unfortunately, with us at the moment. He got caught up in a meeting. He will join us a little bit later. I do need to turn off the ability to have my messages come through. And I'm going to get into it. So one of the first things we always like to mention to you is we are here to help you. Anytime you're in the Top Producer software, any version, any type, you can just go down to the bottom right-hand corner and there is that chat icon. So you can reach out to our team and chat with us. More than happy to help you. Our team is there for your benefit. We are available from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 10:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Another option you have is we also have our email support at support@topproducer.com. We can assist you there. Now, please do allow that 24 to 48 hours before you get a reply, because that's for more just general questions that are not time sensitive. And something that we can help you out with and get you taken care of. And I do see on my computer that I'm going to use his terminology. My lovely associate, Dan, has decided to grace us with his presence. Hi, Dan. Finally got out of the meeting, eh?
Yeah, good morning, Glenn. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Glad to be here. Excited to go over today's content, all the benefits of the new Top Producer coming from your still awesome Top Producer 8i.
So you want to use me as your puppet to tell me what to do, and I will just do everything?
Sure.
Cool. Be the puppet master, my friend.
So yeah, no, like Glenn has showed here, there's our contact information after the show. You can reach us either chat or email support. So go ahead with the next slide there, Glenn, please. Starting off with what's new. What are you at least missing out on right now if you haven't used the new Top Producer yet, coming from your 8i? So we have something called 360 Contact View, which I'll show you. We'll show you in a minute here, and Property Insights. So 360 Contact View. Everyone knows how to use the 8i contact record, right? So why don't you go ahead, Glenn, and show us a contact record in Top Producer 8i. And this will
get my 8i up and running.
Yeah, this will make more sense. The 360 contact view. And we're gonna take a step back. We're gonna show you guys your ADI contact record. So open any contact record in here.
How about I open my record since, it's me.
Yeah, awesome. So you can see at the top right now, you're in the summary tab, right? It shows you all your new notes. And then beside the summary tab, you've got the lead info, contact details, et cetera, right? So you can toggle through them. One of the feedback that we got from our lovely ADI users is, can I customize this? Can I move things around? Can I make something else as default? I don't want to look at my summary tab all the time, right? Maybe I work off the activities first. I need to know what to do next, basically, right? So in Top Producer ADI, the dashboard is basically fixed, so you can't make any customization to it, right? So it's as is. Now with the new Top Producer, go ahead and show us the same contact record, Glenn, in Top Producer X. You'll see the tabs instead of like going from left to right. Here it's going up to down, right? So instead of the summary tab, that first tab is called dashboard, and then it's got emails, important dates, notes, and so on, right? So with this 360 contact view, what we mean here is you can customize those tabs. So instead of, let's say, the dashboard tab, right? Maybe I want the tasks tab to be at the very top. I can click and drag that all the way to the top. And I can move things around based on how I want to do my work in order. So maybe after tasks, I want to look at my emails next. Then after emails, maybe I want to look at my properties next, and so on. So this 360 contact view allows you to change your Top Producer to the way you work. And especially with someone coming from ADI where everything is, learning a new product, new version, you want to give yourself the most advantage as far as implementing it to your existing workflow. So being able to change those tabs to the way you work makes that onboarding a lot easier, hopefully, for you. And the other thing you can do too is you can set one of those tabs as your default. Maybe you don't want the dashboard tab to be your default. Maybe you want to see, let's say the text tab is your default, the first thing that it'll pop up, right? So you can actually go to text, click on that gear icon that Glenn is showing there. And then from the menu, you can select set current tab as default. So if you're following along, go ahead and try that. It's pretty cool. So if you close this tab, this contact record, right? And you go, you're busy, you're doing other things, and you open up any contact now, the default tab is text because that's what you set as the default. So how cool is that, right? What do you think, Glenn?
I think that's pretty cool, and I'm enjoying being the puppet to try to do things before you get there, just to see if I can catch you off guard.
Yeah,
Sorry, folks. We like to have fun here. Dan and I have worked together for quite a while.
Good
he
puppet,
is our training expert.
Or should I like shine your head like that?
Yeah, give it a little bit of a shine, buddy.
Just kidding. Yeah, so that's what we mean about 360 contact view here. And then the other thing, if we go back to the slides, the other thing that we wanted to highlight right away is something called property insights. So we have a lot of buyer agents, and there's always that missing feature. We didn't have anything for a lot of our features in ADI, are geared towards listing, right? Trying to list a house and sell a house, right? But we didn't really have anything that would help a buyer agent. And one thing that we implemented as part of that feedback from our ADI users is being able to maintain a list of properties that your buyer contact or your buyer lead are interested in. So, you get a new buyer lead and they're like, yeah, I want to, I'm ready to buy in the summer, right? I'm getting a raise on March 1. And, I want to move into a new place on summer, and I want to look at property. So I'm Mr. Realtor, Mr. Glenn Doyle Realtor. I would like to send you some properties I might be interested in moving into in like Richmond here in British Columbia, right? So that buyer contact or that buyer client might start sending you text messages. They might start sending you emails. They might start calling you, all these different ways and they're gonna give you a bunch of property that they're interested in, right? Instead of writing all that stuff down on your note, like on your notepad with a piece of paper, or in your 8i going into notes where it's stored with everything else that you're notating in that contact record. We have a dedicated spot just for those lists of properties that they're interested in. And this is powered by our integration with your MLS board. So it updates automatically if the status changes, right? So if it goes sold, if it goes pending or expired or it's canceled, it'll give you the picture. It'll also give you the numbers of bedrooms and bathrooms, right? So if they're like, yeah, I just drove by this place in Richmond, this is the address, right? I'm interested in that one when I'm ready to buy in summer. Can you write that down, or can you look into that for me, right? So what Glenn is doing here is, let's pretend that buyer agent says, oh yeah, it's on 8080 Harbor View Road. You didn't have to pull up your MLS to get this information. You just put in the address, or if you have the listing ID, you can plug it into. You add it in as a property insight, and then you select, the interest level of that buyer towards this property. So let's say interested in, and now you hit save. Right? Just imagine this over the next few days and weeks when your buyer keeps constantly giving you these lists or these properties that they're interested in. So when they're ready, they're like, oh, it's May, let's go. Can you please start setting up some appointments to look at the 10 properties that I sent you? You will basically demonstrate photographic memory to them, like, oh yeah, that one on Harbor View Road, it's still active. Yeah, I could definitely set up an appointment for us, right? Or, oh, this 123 Main Street one, unfortunately, that one, it says here from my MLS, it says it's already canceled or it's already sold. So that one I have to take off of our list, right? And this conversation is just so much more faster for you, where you don't have to do your own manual research to your MLS. You can do it from all in one place, all in your Top Producer through this Property Insights tab.
One of the main advantages of this, now let's say my contact here was really happy with this place and wanted to put in a offer on it, and I want to do this as a transaction. Over here where it says interested in, I can click on this and turn made offer, and then I can turn it into a transaction. So you've instantly got so many different things that were usually in different locations all in one spot. So we're just going to do this up. We have the information. We got the listing date. We got everything set. As soon as I click this button down here, we have a transaction and it's all ready to go.
Yeah.
Quick and easy. No muss, no fuss.
So like that Property Insights, that's like, for me, one of my favorite features of Top Producer X, being able to just have a quick centralized list for my buyers. I don't have to do my own research. It's just right there. It's really, and it's updating automatically every day. Every time there's a change from the MLS, it updates it in there. So let us know in the chat what do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of it? Let's see. There's a couple of questions on chat. We'll go with the first one here. David, relationships. Can you review how best to link records? Thank you. Okay, we can go over that in a couple of minutes, David. Willie, 8i is no longer integrated with Greater Vancouver Real Estate Board. Can Top Producer X integrate with my board? Is that the case right now with Vancouver, Willie? Sorry, Glenn?
Yeah, Greater Vancouver Real Estate Board can link to Top Producer X.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no. Now, this is where my technical and geeky side comes out. So let me just explain a little thing. The MLSs did a very serious upgrade to their data feeds. What that means is it puts more data through quicker and a lot better and more up to date. For us to be able to keep up to that, unfortunately, Top Producer 8i is not able to receive that data. However, that being said, very quick demo. If you go down to settings and then MLS credentials, you'd be able to put in the Greater Vancouver. So yeah.
Sorry, I was misreading that. So 8i, yes, unfortunately, due to its older technology, we can't connect the MLSs anymore. All these MLS, they all use different types of software, right? So like one board might use, Bright MLS, another board might use another like Sandicore MLS or whatever MLS system that they use, right? Whatever piece of software they use. All those software have been getting updated through the years, through recent months. 8i, unfortunately, we built it, back in the early 2000s, and it no longer complies with their requirements to be able to connect to those various MLS systems, right? So that's why the MLS integration works in the new top producer, but not in 8i. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, sorry, Dan, I'll just, if you need some help with that, Willie, feel free to reach out to our support team. Because of the fact that I have used and abused my top producer account here as a testing, I don't have the little button down here, but if I go up here and refresh, it should pop back up. Nope, like I said, I've abused this account way too much. You will see this icon in the bottom right. If you're having trouble getting it associated, go ahead and click on that and it'll get awesome. You linked it up. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Back
So
to you, Dan.
David, we'll come back to the relationships question that you have. How do you best link the records? Right. We'll come back to that at the end here. We've got just a bunch of content here that we need to go through, but we'll come back to that one. So we'll put a pin on it. All right, let's continue here. Glenn, go ahead with the next slide. Yeah. So the next thing that's new in the new top producer that isn't available in 8i is being able to see if someone's opened your email, right? So I got all those calls all the time where, an agent's like, oh, am I able to see if someone actually opened this email, that email template I created in 8i? Unfortunately, the answer before was no, we didn't have a way for you to see, oh, so-and-so actually opened your email. Right, going back to the fact that 8i was built on older technology, we just couldn't make it work for whatever reason. With this new version, though, I can happily now say yes, we are able to tell you if someone's opened your email. All that hard work that you did crafting the perfect marketing spiel. Maybe you hired a photographer to take a picture. Or maybe you use like an AI chat conversation bot like ChatGPT to create your marketing spiel, right? You want to see if someone's actually opened that email, right? So top producer will give you that instant gratification using these icons that you can see as an example. So like that green eye icon is the indicator that someone did actually open that email. The red one means it hasn't been opened, or maybe you sent that email outside of top producer, and then the box that looks like with an arrow going in it, it represents if someone actually replied to your email. And
you mean the inbox?
Yeah, exactly. We'll quickly show you where that is. So Glenn, if we go back to top producer X and just open up a contact, and we're gonna go to just their email tab. This is where all those emails will be. So you can see that right there. There's two emails here with Glenn, this contact. One of them he's viewed on June 22 of last year. The other one from February 16 he hasn't viewed yet. And then like you can respond to it from there. You can reply to it, make threads and all that stuff. So
just even brings your SIG right away.
Yeah, the experience, if you guys start trying it out, is, in my opinion, just a lot more smoother compared to the one in 8i, as far as like you're having that one-on-one conversation goes. In 8i, you have to go to like this separate area, like the 8i inbox, which doesn't work anymore, right? But in here, it's all in the same 360 contact view. So let's say you want to send them an email, you can actually check first before you send that email. Check to see if there's any important dates. Maybe you want to mention that, oh, by the way, congrats on your wedding anniversary, congrats to you and your wife, or oh, look, oh, your dog's birthday. just pass. I'm sorry. I'll send you your dog a gift basket, right? Something like that, right? So, it makes that conversation, or like when you're crafting that email, a lot easier because it's all in that 360 contact view.
One of the other benefits of this is because of the fact that, and I like to use the analogy that you guys probably get more email in a day than the average person gets in a week. By doing it this way, the emails are on the contact. So if you have a very, let's say, motivated client, because I can think of other words, we can all probably think of other words to demonstrate a motivated client, you'll be able to get those emails instantly in one spot. And we have this refresh button here so you can check the system, check to see if they've read them. The other advantage is you're still going to have a copy in your inbox. So this is attached directly to my main account. So I have a special Gmail account I set up for this. If I were to go into that Gmail account, I will have a copy of the sent and the received emails there. So this way you still have them in your normal place, but now instead of having to scroll through all the other emails about business and whatnot, you can go directly to the clientele's information. Makes it quick and easy. You're actually spending less time within the software and more time working with your clients.
Yeah, by the way, I just want to shout out everybody here that's joined us. If you guys stick around all the way to the end, I do have a bonus content. I'm gonna hype it up. But yeah, it's gonna be a good one if you guys stick all the way to the end. Something that we've recently introduced over the last week or so that you guys will be excited about, in my opinion.
So this is interesting. I don't even know what he's got coming. So you guys, we're all in for a shocking surprise.
All right. So the next thing in that slide that we were looking at, other than the being able to see if someone's opened that email or not, is you're gonna be able to send and receive text message to your top producer. So it looks like that. You go into a contact, you go to the text tab, and you can see back and forth your text messages with that contact. And the reason why you want to do your text messages for your business through your top producer instead of your regular texting app on your phone is that it's not reliant on your phone or what kind of phone you have, right? So if you have an iPhone, let's say you switch from iPhone to Android or Android to iPhone, those text messages that you have on your texting app might not be necessarily be available on your new device. Or what if you lost or misplaced your device even temporarily, right? And you're going to an important meeting or viewing, right? With Top Producer, you can see your full texting history as once you integrate it, obviously. It's not going to show you the text messages that you have on your app on your phone. But once you start sending and receiving text messages through Top Producer, that full texting history is in that contact record.
Yeah, Dan, I have to, because I know that we've got a couple of Canadians in this one today, as both Dan and I are in Canada, we also have to say this is only for US-based users now. But as always, something that Dan and I are both proponents of telling people, we have a way of getting feedback to our team. Anybody in Canada, go into the feedback, search texting in Canada, and let our developers know how important it is, and they will keep pushing to get it in for you. It is something we'd like to have, but there's no definitive time. Sorry, Dan, just thought I'd answer that while we were at it.
No, thank you. And we're going to walk you through how to provide feedback. It's one of the slides on this presentation. So don't worry, Willie, we'll show you how to do it. We'll come to Canada, hopefully. I don't know, right? There's a lot of factors why we are not able to make it available to Canada. And one of those is like the differences in the privacy and marketing regulations with Canadian and the US, governing bodies, whatever they are, right? It's just different between the two countries. So, our lawyers, I guess, we wanted to make sure we play it safe, and we're like, nah, yeah, we're just gonna make it available for our US customers for now. But that could change in the future. I'm not going to give you a percentage of how likely it's going to be, unfortunately. But yeah, the more we get that feedback, at least we can keep, poking at our development team and our executives to keep looking at it.
We enjoy poking those teams on your behalf because what you ask us for, we realize you're the ones who know exactly what's needed for the business more than we do. So we enjoy doing that poking for you. So just keep letting us know and we'll poke the bear.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead with the next slide, Glenn, please.
Of course.
And now, for those of you that are aware of what Market Snapshot is, or was, we used to have a separate website to log into your Market Snapshot, topmarketer.net. I don't know if anyone remembered that. And if you even remember, sometimes, even way back before, we had like a separate CD or floppy disk for Top Marketer, like way back then, right? And one of the feedback is, why do I have to have a separate username and password just to get into Market Snapshot? I should just be able to see my Market Snapshot in my Top Producer, right? So with the new version of Top Producer, Market Snapshot is now inside Top Producer. It's all under one roof. And as George here from Homes by Kimball says, it's just the easier something is to use, the more it'll be used. And because we can now completely manage Market Snapshot from within Top Producer, we're going to be sending a lot more snapshots. Now, if you don't already have Market Snapshot, let us know if you're interested in a demo, and we can have one of our wonderful salespeople reach out to you. But yeah, Market Snapshot is just a really good way to provide value to your prospects and your existing and past clients. That way you're top of mind when it comes to, selling their house or buying their first home or whatever it is.
It also helps for follow-up after the sale because you're helping people with their biggest investment. Well, I'm hoping their house is their biggest investment. I know some people where the car is their biggest investment, but that's another story, right? But this allows them to see how the market is in their area. They can see if home prices are improving or decreasing. They might actually find they bought at a perfect time because the prices are skyrocketing, and you may get a call from them in a year saying, I can almost double my investment. Let's sell. So it is a good idea to have this going to not only your new clients, but also all of your old clients, just so they can see how good their investment's doing.
Yeah, and also I'm thinking about this too. When you're doing cold calling, right? It's a little awkward just calling somebody and be like, "Hey, I'm a realtor in your area. Are you interested in buying your next home, or are you interested in selling your property or whatever?" Right? If you have their email address already, you can pre-send them. You can send them a Market Snapshot, and this will help with the icebreaker. And just like, "Hey, this is Glenn, your neighborhood expert in real estate. I sent you a Market Snapshot, by the way. I don't know if you had to take a look at it, but I was just reviewing your area, and it looks like, if you're looking to sell, the asking price rate, the average sold price is about 5% above asking price right now. So like, isn't that a nicer icebreaker than be like, "Hey, how's it going? Do you want to sell your house?" Right? You're actually giving them value right off your cold calling. So just something to think about if you guys are on the fence about Market Snapshot. Go ahead. Next slide, please. Okay, so another cool new little feature is the smart contact list in Top Producer X, and being able to set up follow-up reminders. So again, let's take another step back, and in 8i, let's go and show them that, and go to contacts and click on contact summary. So as you guys can see here, and you're all familiar with this, your list of contacts here, you got the all tab, which is showing you all your contacts, obviously, and you got all these different tabs based on their last name initial, right? Another thing that we get feedback from is, "Hey, can I customize these tabs?" Right? And the answer is no. In 8i, everything is as is. Basically, it's fixed. With the new Top Producer, let us show you the upgraded version of this page. So as soon as you log in, it'll take you right to your new contacts. We prioritize your new contacts, as you guys know. Anytime you get a new contact, person that you've never talked to, maybe you got them automatically from Zillow or Realtor.com. you want to speak to them right away, right? There's like a ticking clock. The longer you wait to respond to a new lead, the less likely they're even going to answer your phone call and remember that, hey, why are you calling me, right? They forgot that they actually filled out a lead form on realtor.com, for example. So the longer you wait, the staler they become, right? So we prioritize those new contacts right away. But if you look at the top, instead of last name initials, we have all these tabs based on where they are in their buying or selling journey. So your new contacts, which is the default, and then you've got your engaged contacts where you're qualifying whether they're hot or cold yet. You're not sure yet. You're still qualifying them. And then you got your future for your cold leads, active for your hot leads, and then or your current clients, and then you got your closed for all the people that you successfully completed your transaction with and made commission with, right? Now this smart contact list, what we're talking about here is being able to create your own. So if you look in the top right corner, right beside that add contact button, there's a gear icon, and you can actually create your own contact tab. So go ahead and click on that, Glenn. And let's say you want to just see all your buyers, right? So you can actually create a buyer label, a buyer tab. And then you can use, all the contacts that you put into that contact type called buyer, right? And then create. So now you've got your own prospecting list for just all your buyers. You can create as many as you want. Maybe go ahead and create another one and create another one for seller, for example, right?
I think I have any sellers in this account. That'd be interesting to see, won't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I have 61. Cool.
There we go. And then maybe you can even go fancy with it, right? Maybe you want seller and let's go with let's go to the buyer tab, if you don't mind, Glenn. Buyer, and I want to know if they're also an absentee owner. So go ahead and click on that gear icon. Go ahead and click on the gear icon, Glenn.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dan. I accidentally clicked on the name there.
No,
My
it's
bad.
all cool. It's all cool.
So create another tab?
Yep, create another tab, and let's call this buyer absentee owner. You don't have to select just one contact type. You can actually select multiple. So buyer, you select that one, and then absentee owner, you select that one, and now you can hit create. So it's super flexible to what you're trying to do as far as prospecting goes. Mandy, yes, the webinar is recorded. It will be on our YouTube channel. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the address to our YouTube channel on chat. If you guys have a quick look there.
We always usually we have them up today, the same day. Sometimes I'm slow, so I take the full blame on that, but we'll make sure this one is up before end of day today.
No worries. You're not slow, Glenn. You're just right.
Thanks, Dan.
So yeah, no problem. Yeah, so the webinar is recorded. I know there's a lot of information we're going through, and if you do like that YouTube video, put a thumbs up on it so we know how you found it so valuable to you. But yeah, going back to the point here, you can create smart contact lists using that gear icon on the top right corner. And then the next thing I want to show you is something called the follow-up reminder. So let's go to the tab called Engage. And can you deselect all three? Okay, perfect. So let's say you're qualifying, right? We got 8 people here. You don't know if they're ready or not, right? But you got to figure it out. You got to qualify them, right? Or else, why are they in your database, right? You got to figure it out. So what you want to do is continue to follow up with them until you figure out and categorize whether they're a hot lead or a cold lead, right? So you might want to set yourself up with a follow-up reminder. So at the top there, I want to make sure these people that I'm qualifying in my engaged tab, I need to check in with them every 5 days, for example, right? Or let's put 30 days. Let's put that in there and see what happens. Let's say every 30 days, right? You notice here, Alan, right? the last action was February 13, you notice his color on his row is white. It's not color coded, right? That's because you are within that 30-day threshold. So it's not reminding you yet to follow up with Alan. But the rest of the people here, it's been past 30 days already. So they're being colored as red, right? So this is how we're taking advantage of coloring in the new Top Producer. I know Top Producer 8i is way more colorful, but with Top Producer, we're introducing colors in a more engaged way. It's not just having colors for the sake of having colors. The colors actually mean something. So when someone is overdue, we're going to color that name in red if you're using the follow-up reminder.
That makes sense. Plus, you can see here, you don't ever want to have as many overdues as I do, because the fact that these people, if they were originally somebody that I was engaged with, this one here is almost a year old. So I've got two people that have probably gone with other agents. Dan probably stole them from me and made the sale, and that's why he's looking for a place on the water with his kids.
Yeah. It's okay. That's why Glenn, we benefited from Glenn not being a good realtor. He is now a Top Producer employee and helping us build better realtors, right?
Yes.
Just kidding. Okay, so if you have questions on the follow-up reminder and smart contact list, just let us know in the contacts. But we're going to move on to the next point here. The next point is that we're going to talk about things that we've upgraded. They exist in 8i, but what did we do to upgrade it in the new version? So the first thing I want to talk about is transactions. So in 8i, you got your listings, you got your closings, right? In Top Producer X, we put it into one place. We called it transactions. And from 8i, we were only tracking 4 key dates: listing date, closing date, expiration date, and expiration reminder date. So it was only 4 dates, right? With Top Producer X, based on your guys' feedback, you wanted to be able to track other key dates, right? Like, for example, the inspection date, the possession date, right? I know here in Vancouver, some of you guys are, or at least one of you guys are here in Vancouver. The closing date and the possession date are not the same day. The possession date is usually the next day, right? So you want to be able to track, even though it's only a day difference, right? You want to be able to track when the closing date and the possession date is. So yeah, being able to track all of that. And the other thing that Top Producer will do too is, let's say you have a bunch of tasks that you have to do, and they're based on one of these dates, right? Like the example I like to use is the listing date, right? If you are the seller agent, and let's say part of your routine whenever you sell a house is the day before you put it on the MLS, the day before you put it on the listing date, you hire a photographer to go to that house and take pictures, right? So the pictures are fresh, basically, right? Or maybe a week, whatever your routine is. What if that listing date changes, right? Maybe the seller's like, oh, you know what? I don't want to sell this house yet for another month, right? Because I have some family coming over, blah, 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 blah. Can we move the listing date to next month, right? So you can change the listing date in the new Top Producer, and anything that's dependent on one of those key dates, it will ask you, hey, do you want to update the due date now on all your tasks based on this change of, key date, right? So that photography session, instead of the day before, let's say the listing date is today, February 22. So the photography session would have been February 21. If you move that listing date to March 22, that photography date will also move. Because you put it to one day before the listing date, it will move to March 21. And it does that automatically, right? That's just one task as an example, right? As part of your routine, you probably have like 10 or 20 tasks that you do for every time you sell a house. Being able to have the system automatically change all those due dates automatically based on these key dates it's a lifesaver. It's a time, it's a time saver, right? So that's what we mean here by dynamic workflow. And as Ali Pohl here says, closing coordinator for her brokerage, the task plans are a lot simpler in Top Producer X. Started with one of the available templates, then change it to match my process. Let's go ahead and take a quick break here and show them that, Glenn. Let's take a
Okay.
look at the transaction. So go to the transaction tab and just open up any transaction in there, right? And let's go to the task. And let's add a task there.
You want a plan or a task?
Let's just do a task.
Sure.
And let's go with that same example of the photography session. So just call it, take pictures. And then the date will be dependent on a transaction date. One day before the listing date. Okay. And you can even set a time. So go ahead and select that time, set a time, right? Maybe the sellers are like, you know what, I'm not going to be home till like 5 o'clock at night, right? So, okay, sure. Let's put it at 5 p.m. 5:30 is good. Yeah, 5:30 p.m. To like 6 o'clock or 5:45. Whatever you pick, Glenn.
So you have all these options. This gives you something that we didn't have before. You couldn't set items to go at a certain time. So you'd have to look at all of your tasks on the day and see what they were set at. So now we're helping you plan your day in more than just knowing what to do, but what time to do it, so you're not going to accidentally overbook yourself for things.
Yeah, exactly. So now that you save that task, so if you look at your task, it's overdue, right? Because you're on the timeline on the top right there. That's like the timeline view going from top to bottom. Your listing is on February 10. So this due date is February 9. Now let's go ahead and edit this transaction on the bottom there.
Yeah, they moved it on me.
Yeah. And then let's change the listing date. So instead of, or can you change it? Oh, sorry.
You can't change the listing date. Remember, that comes from the MLS.
Right. Sorry. My mistake.
That's okay. We'll forgive you.
Let's go with let's just change it to contract amendment date, and let's pick 23rd and then save that, and then let's update that task. Actually, let's update that task to be dependent on the contract agreement date instead of the listing date.
I have to give it a moment here. It's thinking, because it's trying to actually right now update that.
Yeah.
And again, I have abused this Top Producer. Let me close that down and reopen it. There we go.
Yeah. So let's just change that one. Instead of being dependent on the listing date, one day before closing what is it called?
I think we did acceptance date, didn't we?
I don't remember.
Yeah, neither do I.
Let's put it in an acceptance date. Let's just pretend, go to edit transaction. Sorry, guys. Should be better.
This is what happens when
this
he's
example.
puppeting me. Yeah, I put agreement, sorry. So acceptance date, we'll change this to Friday. How's that sound?
Sure. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, just click on that. Okay, so let's say the acceptance date, and then this task, you might have to close it and reopen it.
Yep.
So this photography session is supposed to be due today, right? What if, that date that it's due, that it's connected to, the acceptance date changes? So instead of the 24th, let's change the acceptance dates to the 25th. And this is the pop-up. See, it says, hey, would you like to adjust, your tasks that are due depending on these key dates? And then you would say yes. Now that photography session is due, instead of today, it's going to be due tomorrow. So that's what we mean here. And usually you'll have a bunch more. So, you can manually change one, but you got to think of it like a bunch of tasks that you usually do, doing each one manually one by one. And now, not only is it time consuming, but you're risking yourself making a mistake, right? And as you know, these are important tasks to make sure that you make commission, right? All right, so let's go back to the slides here, and go ahead with the next one. The next thing we've improved from your 8i to this new version is email deliverability and being able to sync your contacts on your calendar. So what we mean by email deliverability is that when we send out an email from 8i, so you put your default email address, let's say you use Gmail, right? When you send out an email from 8i, it's not actually sending it from your Gmail account. What we're doing is something called email spoofing. So we're pretending that it's coming from your Gmail account, but it's actually coming from a centralized email server that Top Producer uses for every Top Producer customer. So your email deliverability, meaning the chance that it'll go into the inbox and not their spam or being blocked completely, your reputation is affected by other Top Producer users. So unfortunately, just like with any any software out there, right? There's certain users that will have a more spammy behavior. They just like to mass email a bunch of people, like 10,000 people, without even thinking about it, right? And there's no actual value in their email, and they just constantly spam their database every day, right? That person is actually affecting your reputation as an email sender, because it's all coming from the same source, that Top Producer 8i email server. It's not coming from your email that you put into your 8i. Of course, we do our best to avoid that. We have some mitigation tools that we use to deliver those emails as best as possible that we can through 8i. Sometimes we have to talk to like Gmail or Yahoo or Apple and tell them, hey, it was just that user, please don't put us into the spam folder, that kind of deal, right? So that's a process though, right? With Top Producer X, the new version, when you connect your email account, in this example, Gmail, we're actually sending it through your own individual Gmail account or iCloud account or Outlook account, right? It's not being shared. That delivery is not being shared by other Top Producer, which means your reputation is just your reputation, right? You're not being affected by other Top Producer users, which is good, because you're more likely to have your emails go into your recipient's inbox and not going into their spam folder.
One of the other advantages to this is going through our servers, you're actually put into a queue. So let's say you have a busy day and you all of a sudden realize you need to send about 5 or 6 emails, and it's around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, there could be another 20,000, 30,000 agents who all of a sudden go, oh, I need to send this email at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it goes in order of who's got the emails in first. So you might have important information you need to get to your clients, but it has to wait for the other important information from the other 20 or 30,000 people. By doing it directly through X and directly through your email provider, you don't have to wait for other people. It just goes. Much simpler, much easier. And you're also cutting out any middlemen. You're going directly from Top Producer to your email provider of choice to your client. And now it shows you. Sorry, Dan.
No, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay. We're used to it. We both go to each other.
And when you send that email from the new Top Producer, you can actually see that sent email on your phone that's connected to the same email account. When you send an email from 8i, you don't see that email that you sent on your phone because it's not connected at all. So that's another benefit. I think Glenn mentioned it earlier as well. The other thing on the slide is being able to sync your contacts and your appointment, right? So if you have an iPhone, if you have a Pixel phone or Samsung phone, we can connect to that same account that you manage all your contacts on your phone and manage all your appointments on your phone. if you use a tablet, we can connect to that same account. So every time you add a new contact, or you edit it, or add an appointment, or you reschedule an appointment, you don't have to worry about where to put it in, whether you're on your phone or on your laptop. Once you have it connected, it'll sync both ways. It's as simple as that.
There's one thing keep in mind for iCloud. As the iPhone user of the team, one of the things you have to remember is Apple's security is a little bit more high def or highly done than most people. So what you're looking for is you want to make sure that you create an app password within your Apple dashboard. This makes it more secure, and it allows, and basically everything we do is kind of creating an app password, because we're not saving your passwords. Apple just goes to another level so that they have a specific password for all apps, but we're creating a synchronization or integration between the two. So we don't know your passwords, we will never see your passwords, and we can't access your passwords, but it allows the systems to be connected. But keep in mind, app passwords are required for iCloud, and some Office 365 devices or setups may actually require the app password or the two-factor authentication. So if you do run into problems, our team is here to help.
Yeah, so if you don't know what any of that meant, like app password, what the heck is that, right?
Sorry.
Chat with us, or on Friday, this Friday coming up, our lovely Heather, one of our other hosts, she's gonna walk through the same people here. Hopefully you guys join that webinar on Friday, same time, 10 o'clock. We'll post a link in the chat, but if you guys join that, we're actually going to go through all the step-by-step of how to set up your top producer coming from your 8i. So going through the contact sync settings, going through the calendar sync settings, going through the email integration settings. There's just a lot of steps, and we don't have enough time in this webinar to do that. I got a couple more slides, and we've got about like 7 minutes left in our scheduled time. We're going to stay here until you guys all your questions are answered. But yeah, if you want that actual setup experience, join us on Friday, 10 o'clock Pacific, and we're going to walk through a lot of that stuff. But yeah, contact calendar sync, not in 8i, only in Top Producer X.
Yeah, I go and show my techie geek side when I start throwing terms out like that. Thank you for grounding me, Dan. I appreciate that.
Oh, I was trying to click on the presentation slide to change it. I forgot that you were changing it for me. Okay, so now we're going to show you, as promised, we're going to show you how to provide feedback. So, hey, please let us text from Canada, right? So I'll go back one more step. So in your Top Producer X, the new version, it's just on the bottom left corner, it's a big button that says feedback. So when you click on that, it'll take you to another tab on your screen. And what you can see here, Glenn has already submitted some suggestions himself, or he's actually put a thumbs up on other people's suggestions. So you don't have to just put in your own. You can actually see what other people are suggesting, and you're like, you know what, I like that. I like to be able to score my leads, for example, right? So if I like someone else's suggestion, I just need to hit that little thumbs up, and now I'm added to that list of people that want that suggestion. Or I can click on the make a suggestion button on the left-hand side if I just want to put in my own, right? But let's go to let's press cancel on that one, Glenn, and let's show that one that we just thumbs up, the score my leads, for example. Oh no, texting from Canadians. Let's go back to that one. Sorry.
No worries.
I'm all over the place.
It's okay. So
texting for Canadians.
Texting for Canadians, right there.
So you can see on the right-hand side, 61 have already thumbs it up, but there's 26 people that says, I don't want this, right? So I don't know, right? So this, at least you're talking to our product team directly through this feedback portal. We've invested in a dedicated feedback portal for you guys to use to cut out the middleman, so you don't have to call customer care or chat with us or email us for any suggestion. you can talk directly to our product team and say, hey, I want to be able to text as a Canadian user, I want to be able to text. And you can even put in your own comments there, right? So people have already been commenting on this one, right? The more activity a specific suggestion has in this feedback portal, the more attention it's going to get naturally from our product team, right? And the people that need to make those decisions. So definitely take full advantage of that feedback portal. Anytime you see a limitation in Top Producer, go in there and let our product team know, because a lot of the stuff that we're putting into this new version is based on your guys' feedback, like I've been kind of showcasing already a bunch of times today. Anything to add on the feedback portal, Glenn?
Yep. Well, one thing that I like to I like to mention, when you do put something here onto your priorities, you do have a priority slider. So as you can see, I've taken this and put it up as my highest priority. Now that doesn't turn these other three off, but it does mean that this is one of the most important to me. So this is the one that I will get more, or they'll see that is more important. So make sure you go through. Interesting thing is you can adjust it as needed for all the different ones. So you don't just have to go one high. I mean, Score My Leads is one of the lowest in mine, but these two and possibly printing the schedule are pretty important. But as you can see, it does allow you to adjust this as needed. Now, one thing to keep in mind, let's say that you are a Canadian wanting texting. Go ahead and type it in there, but then you're going to notice that it comes up and shows the best options. You might see it where it says declined or coached on these ones. That means it's already added to this. So once you have it, if you find the one that you're looking for, and oh yeah, texting for Canadians, you just click on I want this and it'll take you right over.
Awesome.
Back to you, Dan.
So yeah, let's go back to the slides here. We're almost done. We got about a couple of minutes left. If you have any final questions, please go ahead and post it in chat. And we'll go over that relationship question as well there, David. But on the slide here, just some frequently asked questions. Is there a cost to upgrade to this new version? The answer is no. The same subscription price you're paying right now, you get the best of both worlds, basically. You don't have to stop using 8i. We love using 8i. We love our 8i users. You guys are very loyal to us. So we're going to make sure 8i continues to work for you. So yeah, there's no plans to get rid of 8i. We're going to continue to support 8i as much as we can. Just keep in mind that as with any older technology, right, things might start to not work as we hope to intend or to make it work, right? There's just certain limitations that might happen as time goes on. For example, the 8i inbox, that one's being discontinued. But as a whole, 8i, we have no plans to get rid of it. We want to make sure you guys are happy with it. So what's not in Top Producer X, that's not in 8i. I don't have a comprehensive list for you guys, but things like the income and expense tracker, buyer net sheet, seller net sheet, unfortunately, all your 8i templates and all your 8i action plans, they're not going to be in the new version. But that's why we say you can keep using your 8i. You're not missing out on anything, right? So use both if you want to. If you want to keep printing labels in your 8i, there's no one stopping you to do that. You can continue to use that in 8i, and then use all of the newer features in the Top Producer X version, for example. Yeah, Willie. Yeah, Willie's question just will I can do my accounting in 8i? Can I do this in X? Answer is no, but you can keep doing that, and you don't have to learn a new piece of software, Willie. Just keep using what you're already familiar with in 8i, just for your accounting, right? So you're not missing out on anything. And we're not trying to get rid of 8i anytime soon.
Yes, contrary to popular belief, 8i is not going away anytime soon. There has been rumors going around that it was just going to be shut down. Please know that we still have active 7i users because they still have really old computers, and that one's still active. So we're not in a habit of completely shutting down software. So 8i, here to stay.
All right, next slide here. So we're getting to the end of the show. If you have any, if you want to do your own self-learning, right, you can go to our, we call it the Top Producer Campus website. So it's just support.topproducer.com. And this is actually where I'm going to show you how to sign up for Friday's webinar. So at the top right corner. So let me just post it in the chat here so everybody can go to this website and follow along. Everyone's going to sign up for the webinar on Friday, right? So go to support.topproducer.com. Oh, let me just make it a clickable link for you guys here. Okay, so click on that link. And then once it loads at the top right, click on that option, that menu that says webinar schedule. Go ahead, Glenn. As you can see, today is the 22nd Wednesday. So if you move to the right of that, the 24th, that's the one I would like you guys to sign up for. If you click on that, you just register, click on that link, and then put in your information, and away you go, right? You'll get a notification, you'll get a reminder 1 day before and 1 hour before. So you shouldn't hopefully miss that once you've registered it. If you can't make it, that's okay, because all our webinars, like I said earlier, it's recorded. So it'll be in that YouTube channel that I posted in the chat. If you go back to the calendar, Glenn, I also wanted to point out tomorrow's webinar. So this one will dive even deeper on how to use Top Producer X. Like, we're going to talk about contact types. We're going to talk about contact status. We're going to talk about the follow-up coach, right? So it'll be more about just Top Producer by itself, not so much about, you know, the difference with 8i or how to move from 8i to Top Producer X. This one is just going to be completely about Top Producer X. So I also encourage you guys to join that one if you're interested in, and that one's tomorrow, same time, 10 o'clock. Let's go back to the slide, please.
I have too many things open, sorry.
If you want to see our blog, topproducer.com/blog, Christine, our wonderful social media manager, she will post some tips and tricks just about real estate in general and follow up in general. So not only just how to use Top Producer, but like maybe I know we had one over the holidays that said like last minute holiday gift ideas or something like that, right? So she's gonna post some like real estate coaching that you guys might be interested in. So topproducer.com/blog. YouTube, that's our website channel to be able to view these recordings, and our Facebook user group. So if you want to collaborate with other agents, like the people that's in this session, you can join our Facebook official user group, and that's where you can kind of share ideas with each other. Like, oh, you know, does anyone have an effective first-time home buyer nurture plan or something like that, right? Or, you know, do you guys have an effective cold calling routine? You know, you guys can talk about that in the Facebook user group using our software. Go ahead, do the next one. And now we're going to go through some final questions. But before I go through actually, let's go through some final questions, and then I'll show you guys the bonus content. So let's go to Top Producer X, Glenn, and let's talk about relationships. What's the best way to kind of manage relationships coming from 8i? So if we go to a contact in Top Producer X and you go to that relationships tab for that particular contact, right? If you don't already have a contact that's related to this contact, you can click on add relationship, like a spouse or partner, or maybe a tenant, right? Maybe they're a landlord, right? So let's say they're a landlord, or let's go with spouse. Yeah, Heather, and then let's spouse. Yeah, just keep it at spouse, and then let's hit save relationship. What's different with the new Top Producer is they have their own contact record. So this spouse here, if you click on that name, it'll take you to their contact record. So that way, if for whatever reason, worst case scenario in a relationship is it doesn't work out, right? So they get divorced or whatever, right? you can market to them separately. Where in 8i, that was kind of an issue, being able to market to separate people, like the spouse and the husband and the wife, or whatever the partnership is. You can't market to them separately. So the workaround in 8i was you had to go to the other emails and other phone numbers and put in the spouse's numbers and stuff into that. So we instead of having to do that, workaround, in Top Producer, they have their own separate contact record. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Glenn.
So one of the things you'll notice going from 8i to X, you will, under the relationships tab, you'll have an option to split to make this for it automatically. One thing I would recommend is if you do that split, you want to make sure that the in Top Producer 8i, you double check the main account. So let's say this name here, you want to go in and make sure that the labels and envelope salutations still say both names. Otherwise, you're going to end up with 2 labels, 1 for each person. So I would have mine, and then there would be one here for Heather, but it would have the same information. So I would definitely go in and change that up in 8i, because you're still going to be doing your labels through there. Good place to make sure everything's good.
Yeah, that discussion is probably a lot deeper than we have enough time for right now, unfortunately. So just hit the chat button if you have an existing husband and wife or spouse in 8i and you want to convert it into Top Producer X and what all the implications are and limitations. Just hit the chat button and one of us will kind of walk you through and think you over that whole process and what you need to know. But yeah, that's how you can keep track of relationships, and you don't have, it doesn't have to be a spouse. So if you click on add relationship again, Glenn,
yep,
you can track relations to, for example, a landlord, a tenant, sibling, all right, all these different types of relationships.
We need pets or fur babies.
And you can, yeah, the power, what this enables you compared to 8i is there's separate contacts, so you can market to them separately, right? You can market to that tenant, you can market to that landlord, different type of marketing you can do, right? So it just opens up a lot more possibilities for you.
So
yeah,
David has a question.
Yeah, David. Yeah, we don't have an ability to edit the relationship like aunt or family at this time. So definitely something that I would suggest you to put into the that feedback section to give you like an other or add my own relationship, right? So that would be cool. Maybe on a version 2.0 of this relationship feature.
With dogs and cats as well, right?
Okay, yeah. You're really insisting on that one.
Well, because my dog is part of my family. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. Weird to have my aunt and spouse.
So
that's funny, dude.
Yeah. You could use sibling or friend for that one, but yeah, I get that. It would be definitely go to our feedback and say, hey, we need at least a family option within relationships. And I'm going to admit, I never actually thought of that myself before.
What about like mistress or like, second, never mind.
Oh, there you go. Saying the stuff outside you're not supposed to say, Dan.
Inappropriate. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the relationships tab. Hopefully, that answers your question, David. And hopefully you guys are fine. You found this webinar informative and maybe a little fun, right? We try to keep this engaging. Let us know in the chat if you thought it was good or not so good, right? If you have any constructive criticism for us, we love any type of feedback. But now let's go into the bonus content. We got still 10 people, so we only lost one person. That's great. So let's show you Top Producer on a smaller screen. How about we do that, Glenn? What do you think?
I think we can do that. Let me move this over.
We recently just introduced this for you to be able to access your Top Producer from any device at any time from anywhere, right? So if you guys have an iPhone right now or an Android phone, do this, follow along. Open your Safari if you're on an iPhone and open your Chrome if you're on an Android phone and go to the same website for your Top Producer. So that's crm.topproducer.com, right? So I just posted the link there. Type that into your phone on your browser. You should see your login page. Go ahead and log out for me, Glenn.
Of course.
So on your phone, now there's two different types of devices. So two separate instructions I'm about to give you. If you're on an iPhone, on the bottom of your phone, so kind of like that area that that Glenn is showing there, that's highlighting, there's gonna be like a box with an arrow pointing up out of it, right? That's called the share button on the iPhone. Tap on that and you'll get a bunch of options in your menu. Scroll until you see the option that says add to home screen. Once you do that, it'll ask you to confirm the name. You could change it if you want to, or just hit tap or just hit add to confirm. Once you do that, you basically created a shortcut for your top producer on your phone, on your home screen on your phone. So now that every time you need to access your top producer, you don't have to wait until to get your back to your laptop or you're at your office. You can do it from anywhere, from any device that you use. So you just tap on that top producer shortcut on your home screen. If you haven't logged in yet, go ahead and log in. So go ahead and log in there, Glenn. Once you're logged in, it's gonna stay logged in unless you like clear your cookies and cache or you log out, manually. But this is top producer on any device. You can see our system, our top producer is mobile responsive, or any device responsive, I should say. And it basically works just like the one on your laptop, right? So you can manage your top producer from anywhere. What do you think? Was that a good surprise?
I think it was. It's pretty cool to know that now when you're out in the field, you don't have to lug around your laptop. You don't have to set your phone up on a hotspot and then log in, then connect and then go. You can just go around. And when you're talking to your clients, when you've got your tablet in your hand, and a lot of tablets now have cellular connections, you can do everything on the tablet. If you're talking to somebody looking at one house and they go, hey, I see this house across the way is for sale, you can bring up the MLS info and put it into a property, what is that word called? I always forget that one. Property Insight. You can put that in right there and get all the information from the MLS for them and show it to them right then and there.
Yeah, it's just so convenient, right? So let's say you're waiting for, your buyer client, you're in your car and you're waiting for them to show up so you can, go through the house, right? You can go look at your follow-up coach, or at the bottom there, you can look at your task or your calendar, for example. Let's go to calendar and you can check your next appointments, right? At the very bottom.
I was just moving it over. I like moving things over.
So you can see what your next, appointment is after this showing that you're doing, right? Or you can go to the transactions if you wanted to, for example, go ahead and do the transaction. And you're just like, you can see, oh, okay, look at, if you go all the way to the bottom, Glenn, you can see, okay, it looks like, hey, I'm making money, just kind of like seeing, what your business is looking like with all your commissions and all that stuff, right? You can do it just from your phone. You don't have to wait to go to your laptop. It's so convenient in that way. David's question, TPX is syncing with my Google Calendar, but not on my Android. So that Google account, David, that is connected to that Google Calendar and top producer, make sure your Android is also set to that same Google account and it's set as its default. It's set as default. But David, if it's already done, if you already have it set up and it's still not working, or you don't know what I'm talking about, just hit the chat button and we'll go through it with you, David. That one it should work, David. So I can reassure you in like 99% of the time it works, right? So let's just have a conversation about that. Let us know, just hit the chat button and we'll troubleshoot that with you. Willie says, time to move to X from 8i. Yeah, I mean, not pushing you away from 8i, but as you can see, this webinar, hopefully you guys are starting to get some ideas on how you can, get that competitive edge, right? Maybe you have other 8i users in your area, right? Now you're going to start to use this tool right? That we just kind of showcase with you for you, and maybe that'll give you that competitive edge. Anything else anyone want to talk about? Otherwise, we're gonna go ahead and end this. We'll give you guys a couple of seconds here. Glenn, can you go back to the slides and we'll just go back to that thank you slide there.
Let me find the 5 billion tabs I have open because, you know, going all over the place today. But yes, we do thank you for coming to see us. I love to do this part because this is where we get to thank you for spending your time with us. We do appreciate it. We know you're busy, so we appreciate you coming to see us, and we look forward to your continued success. As we've mentioned a couple of times, and we'll mention again, because we absolutely love our support team. They're there to help you and make everything good for you. Bottom right-hand corner of all of our programs, and even from our support at support.topproducer.com. Monday to Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or 10:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm so used to saying that because normally Heather, who's my other host, is on the East Coast. So I got to make sure I keep her happy.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for joining us. Looks like we don't have any final questions. So I'm your host, Dan Salcedo. Joining me is Glenn Doyle. We really appreciate you guys. Mandy says this was a very informative webinar and the TPX has certainly improved. I'm glad I joined in today. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mandy. Thank you, David, Willie, everybody else that participated in the chat. Hopefully we do see you guys tomorrow or Friday or any of our webinars. You guys will see either Glenn, me, or Heather, which is our other host. And otherwise, have a great day.
Take care, everyone. Thanks again for stopping by and spending time with us. You have a great day, and this will be uploaded a little later. Bye for now.
Bye.